Hello, everybody. It's great to be here one more time today. My name is Gary Fowler. I'm the CEO, President, Founder of GSD Get You Done Venture Studios, a premier AI and quantum venture studio located in the heart of Silicon Valley. I'm a 17-time serial entrepreneur with several unicorns under the belt. I was on the original management team of Click Software, which was sold to Salesforce for $1.35 billion, also Eva.ai. One of the first generative AI companies that we founded in 2016, pre-transformer models, was acquired by Vizier in Canada. We believe that intellectual capacity is evenly spread around the world, but opportunities are not. And today I have an incredible guest. I've actually had him on my show one time previously. He's a CEO at Wimmer Family Office. He's an astronaut. He's an incredible investor and businessman. He just has a book that came out a year ago that's one of the top business books over in the UK. He did a movie about Elon Musk, and he's also an astronaut. So he's got quite a wide background, and I'd like to bring him on. Hi, Per. How are you today?
I'm good, thanks. Thank you very much. Happy to be on here, Gary.
Yeah, no, it's great. So, we talked, I remember last time we had our discussion, we talked about Harvard. Where are you from originally, and what made you decide to go to Harvard? How did that come up?
Sure. I was born in Denmark. Always been very keen to learn in a wider sense. So I've traveled a lot. I've been to almost half of the world's countries to date, and also went to university. I've got 4 master degrees, so I just kept going because I love learning. It was sort of inside me. Did my masters, 2 first masters originally was in law, and then political science, and then eventually ended up at Harvard University doing business, finance, and international relations. And again, super exciting journey throughout each of these universities, and really had a good time. So yeah, it was just the learning that sort of was driving me towards that.
So you look at it. So going down through it, what made you feel good about getting those 4 master's degrees? What was the thing that really drove you? Was it for the education? Was it for the social experience? Why did you do it?
It's probably both, to be honest. I think if you compare university for many people today, which is a lot online and virtual, I find that slightly strange. I know it's normal today, but I was so happy to have actually a physical university with real mates and the social and the ability. And I would also argue that even when I was at Harvard, probably half of my learning was done outside the classroom. It wasn't done inside. Yes, I had fantastic professors and amazing, very talented, accomplished professors with long CVs and stuff. But I learned just as much from my fellow classmates outside, whether we were playing tennis or basketball or whatever. We were just talking and socializing, and it was just all part of the same thing. And so I did learn a lot through that. And I think, and I really treasure that I was able to do that. But obviously I was a bit greedy on that front, so I just kept going and doing one degree after the other. I did step out and work a bit, so it was a bit in and out of university in that sense. When I finished the law degrees, I went to do a political science degree at the College of Europe in Brussels, in Bruges, and that fast forwarded me to the cabinet of the Vice President of the European Commission. Where obviously I got to learn a lot about how the EU functions from the inside. And my boss at the time was in charge of the financial monetary union, and including also what we today call the euro, as well as the budget. So it was a great place to be, very exciting times to be there. And I learned a lot from it. And actually, when I finished there, I ended up publishing my first book about the future of European integration, how to do it, what sort of models exist, and how to do it, how not to do it. And lo and behold, it's interesting to see today a lot of the lessons learned and the thesis I had back then has sort of come through. That was interesting, but it was tough. It was my first book. It was on a very academic and tough subject about enlargement versus deepening. And for good measure, it was also written in French, which is not my native tongue. So it was tough and challenging at all levels.
Wow. So when you went down through it, so what did you learn when you were in the vice president's office? What did you learn about politics that most people don't know?
I think you got to see on the inside how the bureaucracy works, and bearing in mind, European Union is composed of many countries, so you see all these different cultures. I mean, you saw the sort of traditional British, fairly pragmatic way of attacking things. If there's a problem, let me just highlight my issue number 1, 2, and 3. Whereas you've had the more French or Latin side that would go through all sort of pleasantries and how wonderful it is to be here together today, and it's great and amazing. And on one side is this, and on the other side is that, and eventually you will sort of get around to talk about the real meat. So it was interesting to see how the cultural differences would pan out in real life. I also got exposed to a lot of household names because I was part of the meeting for Minister of Finance on a regular basis, and obviously various other high-level people that you would certainly know the names of would come through the offices with regular intervals. So it was a great privilege to be be the fly on the wall. I was just a junior guy at such an early time of my career, and it also taught me that yes, you got to know about politics and political science, but you certainly also have to know the numbers. And that was sort of what led me to my next step and headed towards Harvard to top up on the business and finance side of things.
And so, you went down through this journey, you learned a lot. I know when I went to Congress one time, to the House of Representatives, I saw the people in the front, and then I saw the people in the back. And once it would come back, they'd be talking to each other, and it was from different parties. It was like they're friendly. And then when they get up front, it was a totally different issue. It was like you're on stage and you're performing. I've never seen anything like that. I couldn't believe it, actually. And then, you look at it. So you've gone down through all these things. You were Goldman Sachs, Wimmer Financial. You've done, you hold records for what, it's parachuting, correct?
Yeah, skydiving.
Skydiving. And, you have all these things. You're an astronaut. By the way, when are you going up in space? Did they confirm a date yet?
Yeah, the intention is when the Delta rocket is ready, I intend to fly to space in 2026.
And so, you go down through all these things, all these different adventures. You've got your book that's come out a year ago. What are the lessons? And you're really good at meeting with ultra high net worth people. What's really important, Per, to meet with those kind of folks? What are they concerned about when you meet with them? And I don't mean just on the finance side. Because there's almost like a titanium door to get to some of them, right? But what kind of things open that door for you to be able to go in and talk to them about something on the same kind of level? What are they interested in? Space? Are they interested in the success of Wimmer? Are they interested in you personally? Or Harvard? What drives them?
Yeah, no, first and foremost, I speak in equal measure with the King of England as I do with the cleaner on the way in. So, and I've lived with the Indians in the Amazon jungle, and I've had some most fascinating conversations sitting there around the campfire and just talking to them in my broken Portuguese, etc. So first and foremost, I make no difference. For me, it's just all about the person and the person's quality, not about the wealth at all. It's really about that. But to address your question more specifically, because I do also cruise in that privileged circle, and yes, life is a bit different there. Certainly the access is. It's not something you just rock up and go into. And I guess because of my profile, background, etc., I am an interesting person to have around the table, certainly around the dinner table, I'd like to think, because I've had so many, I feel like I've lived 3 lives, hence why I put out last year my autobiography, Volume 1, The Sky's No Limit, which is on Amazon, and which was the one that won the Business Book Awards 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, that's great. Congratulations, Per.
Thank you. That was a shock to the system, but really something I'm proud of. And it's my story. So I feel like I've really traveled, lived, done these amazing adventures. I'm an adventurer. My claim to fame was in 2008. I was the first to skydive Mount Everest. Never been done before. done since, but not before, from that altitude, etc. So it was really, there's a lot to talk about, and obviously getting ready for
But
space.
that's important too. I mean, they liked it. So, I mean, that's one of the things I know I'm going to, I build a vaccine for my dog, right? I used generative AI. I don't know if you saw it, but we built a vaccine 9 weeks ago. She diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. And I used generative AI to help me find someone that could experimentally build a vaccine to stop cancer in my dog. And we took the tumor out. We built the vaccine molecular level. And when I put that out, I had so many people contacting me that were interested in the story. And now I'm getting full systematic stem cells on Friday in Thailand. And, where some of those people that go to the exact place. And it's interesting because people want to know. And if you have an interesting story to tell, that's something that they don't do, it does compel them. There's no question about it. And I think being an adventurer in all kinds of different ways helps you get inside of the circle because they want to talk about their experiences.
It's just a matter of how you connect, and certain people share certain passions. I mean, some people, high net worth or not, might love yoga and meditation. I couldn't think about anything more stressful to do because I'll get frustrated about the lack of action. At the same time, for instance, just yesterday I was at the House of Lords here in the UK, and I was talking to somebody out of a royal family with a high net worth background as well, etc. And he was telling me about his experience flying an SR-71 Blackbird.
Flying it? He flew it?
He was in it. Absolutely. He was up there, which is extraordinary.
Wow. How in the world did he get an SR-71?
I know. So suddenly we had something to talk about because
that's unbelievable.
That is quite an experience. So obviously I was hugely interested. And
what did he say about it? Blackbirds are real interesting, right? So what did he say about it? It's really tight, right? It's really cramped inside.
Yeah, that's what he said. It was definitely very tight. There was a lot of G forces, obviously. And in order to get up to speed, the plane sort of tilts a bit on the way as well. So he said they give you a bag for in case of, and yeah, so it is you get thrown around a lot in flying that thing in order to get up to the real speed. So it was all of that, and the pull, and obviously him being pushed around inside the cockpit and stuff. So he really thought that was quite a unique experience, and I fully agree. I
don't know anybody that it's not in the military. Was he in the military at the time or not?
Nope. No. He was
just put him up. That's unbelievable.
He was just a guy with the right connections. And
wow, that's amazing. That's a rare experience.
Absolutely. But then in that scenario, I could obviously tell him my story. I mean, I've been flying a Russian MiG-25 when that was possible back in the days, and cruising at 80,000 feet at Mach 3. So 3 times the speed of sound, and we could compare notes how that experience was. Obviously, super quiet because the sound.
So that helps. That kind of stuff. You're right about that, Per. When you have those experiences, those experiences open up the door because they don't have them, right? It's just like I said, the stem cell. I'm doing the systemic stem cells, which have phenomenal impact on your body. At an embryonic level, right? They're embryonic live stem cells from an umbilical cord. But the kind of things that are out there, everybody wants to know how to live longer, right? It's one thing about, all the activities we have, but if you can get another 10 or 15 years and live longer, that's exciting. So I got a question for you. When you did that movie about Elon Musk, what made you decide to do that? Did you just wake up one day and say, oh, I want to do this movie about Elon Musk, and what happened?
No, what concretely happened was there was a production company based in the UK that contacted me because obviously they could see I've been in the early days hanging out with Elon a little bit, so seen him a little bit. We used to meet we've met sometimes in St. Bart's, and we've had dinners there together. So obviously I had a little bit of understanding on his mentality, his way of thinking. And in my opinion, he's a true visionary for the 21st century. He's unique. He's talented. He's
He's
intelligent.
unique, that's for sure.
He's a geek. There's many many things you can put to him, but obviously because I knew that from back in the days when before he became a rock star, shall we say, then obviously that was interesting and interesting to them because they could see that he was going places with the stuff he was doing. So they wanted to do a documentary about his story from South Africa to Canada to so. Obviously, I could help with a bit I knew about, and I knew Elon through space and our shared passion in space. But other people would know Elon from, Zip2 and PayPal and such like. So there'll also be other people in the documentary, of course, from various parts of his life. But at least my 2 cents on what I've seen and experienced and my view on him, was there and was relevant for sure.
Well, did he watch the movie?
I don't know. I did meet with one of his top management team members from SpaceX, and I did give them the DVD, but it's available on Amazon and on Netflix.
Yeah, no, I was watching it. It's interesting, and my daughter had lunch. No, not lunch, dinner with his mom in New York recently. My daughter's a young social media influencer, and she met with them. And it was interesting because she said that what happened is she came outside and Musk had and his brother Kimball had the doors pulled apart with her car with electric windows and things. And the mother didn't get mad. She just said, you need to put it back together. It's easy taking something apart. I don't know about you. I did it one time with a Porsche, by the way. I took it completely apart. That was the worst mistake I've ever made in my life because not only do the Germans have certain tolerances of things, but putting something back together with all those little springs, oh my God, this is like an experience. But so you went down through this and you did that. You've done. Now tell us a little bit about Wimmer. How did you come up with your family office? I know you're invested a lot in real estate and you've got an accounting group, I understand also, but what made you decide to form that family office and what are you focused on now?
Yeah, it was just a natural evolution, to be honest. What do we focus on now? I mean, we allocate to hedge funds for starters. Real estate, yes, that is an important part of what we do. We look at real estate deals every day. New stuff shows up, new opportunity shows up. We do mostly value add and ground up, so development plays and with higher returns than stabilized. But we do a whole bunch of other things as well. We do look at later stage private equity deals, Series C and onwards. We are doing a space deal at the moment, which is quite exciting as well. So there's a whole bunch of activity.
What's a space deal? Tell us a little bit about that. What do you do in space?
Oh, this is a space company based out of the US that has gone from being a startup in 2019 and today it's got 3-digit millions revenues, which is extraordinary. It's very incredible feat how they've done that from nothing to a lot. Made 6 acquisitions along the way, and they are powering ahead. And eventually, I think they will. They'll do some big stuff up in space. They do have a relationship with SpaceX as well, both as a customer, 2 ways actually, and I just think financially, it's a company that's going to go far and go places, both literally and figuratively. But just impressive to see the entrepreneurship and they're doing a round at the moment that's at a valuation that's fairly pedestrian. So we're involved there, and that's super exciting and combines passion with a bit of business side. So that's always good.
But you do a lot of real estate too, right?
Correct. Yeah. So typically a developer would come to us with his or her project. We would do our analysis on it, sensitivity checks. We call it the phase 0 analysis. Just check for IRs, check for debt servicing, etc. We do a lot of debt finance in real estate, but we also do selectively equity. And if it all stacks up, then we decide to team up and then work together with the developer. Typical deal sizes are sort of 30 million plus. And geographically, it's UK, Europe, and a bit in the US. And we cover all subsectors of real estate. So everything from resi, affordable housing, care homes, senior living, commercial, hospitality, you name it. We got it and we cover it. So it's exciting, and we do have a great amount of deals and great entrepreneurs that shows up in the office here on a daily basis, and it just makes it so much fun to deal with and interact with on a daily basis.
So, from your own perspective, I have viewers all over the world now. And when they watch this, one of the things they ask me questions about is, what are the keys to success for you? What advice would you give startups or entrepreneurs out there around the world? What if you say three things that were really important for you? What would you say those are?
Well, if you allow me, I would like to share the 7 fundamental Wimmer values. So I've got 7 values, and let me quickly share them with. Number 1, always have an open mentality. Always think out of the box. Be open for new inspiration. It can come when you least expect it. Number 2, whatever you do, follow your heart, follow your passion, be authentic, and just do what you genuinely believe in and feel for, because passion can move mountains, indeed, and authenticity will win in the long run. Number 3, when you figured out what to do, stop talking about it, get on with it, do it. So execute, and focus on it, because then you will make it a success. Number 4, whilst doing all that, manage your time discipline. So make sure that your values correspond roughly to your time allocations. I'm not saying you should cram the calendar as much as possible, but just make sure the priorities are right, and the time is managed, because the time is a depleting commodity. Unlike money that can come and go, time is always going. Number 5, teamwork. 1 + 1 + 1 = 5. Why? Because synergies are created within teams. When it comes to space, for instance, or space training, not the single person could do the whole thing. You need access to space bases, you need rocket builders, you need sometimes political access, you need financing, and you need astronauts. Not a single person can do the whole thing. So teamwork is important. Number 6, whatever is in front of you, whether it's an adventure or a business decision, always assess what is the risk-reward ratio. Ultimately, when it comes to adventures, the risk can be your life. So you got to think pretty hard about it and make sure that the adventure justifies, the upside justifies taking on that kind of risk, and obviously make sure you minimize it. And finally, and most importantly, whatever you do, always make sure to give back, make sure to inspire others. And you will find that not only is it a very enjoyable experience, whether you do it directly through charity or you do it just as a good person, you will find that it spreads like rings in the water and eventually comes back like a boomerang, a positive boomerang. So inspire others, give back, and if you do live after those 7 values, you not only have the possibility of living, of enjoying life, in my opinion, but also you have some key cornerstones for a successful career.
The other thing I've learned, and I just pass this by you, but one of the things, I've lived all over the world myself. I lived in Russia 12 years, lived in the UK for a while, all over actually. And one of the things I found is that if you're curious like you are, and at the same time you look at the similarities between yourselves and not the differences, and focus on the similarities, how alike you are, what happens is all of a sudden you start to integrate into that environment a lot faster, and people appreciate it a lot more, rather than trying to judge yourself against those folks. It was I saw that when I lived in Russia, right? I would go from Kaliningrad to Vladivostok. Wouldn't go there now, but at the time, many years ago now, it was interesting, because when people want, and then they would help you.
Absolutely. But more generally, I just encourage people just to get out there. Get out there, be entrepreneurs, try your luck. If you've got a great idea, just try and execute it. If you want to go traveling and be an adventure, just get on with it. Team up with some good folks. Get a good team together. You don't have to be the smartest guy in the room. I'm certainly not a lot of the time, but I've got great people around me, and that's super important. and together as a team, value number 5, you can really sort of move things forward, and that's what it's all about. And have fun in the process. Do good, and whether you do charity or you do business, just do it within a good team, and enjoy the joint successes.
No, you're right. And the one thing you said about most people don't talk, they talk about it but don't do it, right? The name of my company's GSD, Get Shit Done, right? It's not about the talk, it's about the action. And so you gotta you get a reward when you go out and try things. You keep the curiosity of a kid and you go out and do things that are extraordinary, and it makes your life interesting. Some people just kind of fold backwards and they start to fade. They actually, it's almost like they're dying, right? They start to fade inside themselves, and that's what happens. You got to get out and you got to explore it, laugh, have fun, and appreciate it. Anyhow, Per, listen, we're coming to the top of the show. Thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us today for Simple Night Presents. To all of you out there, my name is Gary Fowler, and I'm your host. Per, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you if somebody wants to reach out and they're interested in investing, or they're interested in talking about some opportunities? What's the best way to reach you?
Sure. Just go to wimmerfinancial.com and you'll find contact details there.
That's great. So again, to all of you out there, thanks for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us today. Thanks, Per, for taking time out of your schedule. I appreciate it. Stay happy, stay safe, and stay healthy. My name is Gary Fowler, and the host of Simple Nights Presents, and I'll be back to you again soon with another exciting edition. Bye-bye, everybody. Thanks, Per. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.